rain around so it's to rain. I searched and I searched and I reached down inside, and I knew when I found there's a light I can hide. I can be free, I can be free, I can rise above.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Dr. Duncan McCollum coming to you from KSCO Radio in Santa Cruz. It's a nice wet day out there, and looking forward to the holidays and looking forward to some nice visits with friends and family. The holidays can be really great for some people and not so great for others. It's a time of happiness, a time of family, a time of oftentimes remembering those that aren't with us. So I just hope everybody out there has a great experience and makes it go right for the holidays. I was talking to somebody earlier today about, about practice, my practice business, being in practice for so many years and having my practice is relatively successful. And it's not because I let things stop me. There's a phrase that says the true test of an individual is his or her ability to make things go right. Sometimes that's not very easy. There's a lot of obstacles in the way. And, the main thing to understand is, what happiness is. Happiness is the overcoming of not unknowable obstacles towards a known goal. What that means is that you're lucid enough or aware enough or willing to look at what's out there around you and evaluate right from wrong, pro-survival from contra-survival, and choose the best paths along the way. Now, it may or may not be that easy. It means that you're willing to take responsibility for your sector or your self and your family and your friends, and sometimes say no, sometimes say, yes, I'm going to encourage you to do this, encourage myself, and willing to be responsible for yourself. One thing I read the other day, and I thought it was really poignant, was because of this time of year, there's a lot of people that have get losses in their life come back to them to haunt them, and it makes them sad or uncomfortable. And my business is of helping people live healthier, happier lives. Pain is a huge part of why I see people. And people come in because of pain, mostly. I've said this before, but 80% of all of the opioids in the world are consumed by citizens of the United States. So we, even though we're 4% of the world population, we take 80% of the opioids. And so I would tend to say that the majority of those are taken to cover up pain. And pain, of course, equates to loss or threatened loss. When you have pain, I know when I had a terrible case of sciatica last November. I couldn't walk more than 15 feet. I couldn't even shop for myself. It was terrible. I went to some of my the most renowned chiropractors that I knew. And, I'd had an MRI. I talked to the radiologist, the reading radiologist at one of the best MRI centers in the county, over the hill, actually. They told me that my disc was so narrow and the hole the nerve comes out shut so much that the only way that I could find relief was to have a surgery to ream out that hole. And that went completely against everything that I knew and believed and have studied as a healthcare provider, a chiropractor, and a nutritionist over these last 30 plus years. So I kept searching. And I went to see a friend of mine who practices a different type of chiropractic. And after my third visit with him, I took a step outside his door and felt like I was shot in the gut by a shotgun. And basically, what it was my appendix ruptured and knocked me to the ground. I had to go to a hospital, and I was in surgery within a few hours. And thank God for Western medicine, because that's the kind of thing that kills you, those toxins that are in those ruptured appendixes. But, and there I am lying in this hospital bed after basically 6 weeks of terrible sciatica. I would drive down Park Avenue on my way home and look down from New Brighton Beach to the cement ship where I love to walk and go, will I ever be able to walk on that beach again? And I was forlorn at the fact that I may not be able to. I know that surgeries can help. I see a lot of ones that haven't helped. But the point being that, that fear of loss to me was tremendous. And it was very depressing. And how many people come into my office in pain and looking for a way out? And how many people don't come into my office or a natural healthcare practice in town or around the country and end up being a victim of the opioid pandemic? Again, 80% of all the opioids sold in the world are sold to 4% of the world population, which is the United States. So lots of people are covering up their pain symptoms. Pain is a fear of loss of limb, life, or mobility. Very depressing. I know this myself. It's demoralizing. And so there's different classifications of survival along this mode. Some people, they just have learned to live with the pain and reduce their desire to expand their life or reach out into the community and become whoever they could be because of the pain. It owns them and it stops them, and they live their life coping with that pain. Other people medicate that pain with alcohol or street drugs, some pharmaceutical drugs, whether they get them from a medical doctor or elsewhere. I can vouch for this because when I was in my 20s, I had such severe back pain that, I broke my back when I was 12, as you know, falling out of a tree, and it went undiagnosed till I was 20. And I was talking to a patient just Thursday or Friday, a young lady who came in with tremendous elbow pain. And she was in a profession that required use of her hands. And she'd been in this pain for so long, and then told me about her low back pain that she's had since she was a kid. And it was amazing because she said, I just never thought, I thought everybody lived in pain. I thought it was normal to live in pain, and it was bingo. That's how I grew up. I thought that because I had so much back pain as a kid, we'd go to the medical doctors and they wouldn't give us anything but painkillers. And so I was under the assumption that everybody just had pain growing up. And I was so surprised when I found out that they didn't. But, I went down the road of self-medicating to a point where, I was on so many drugs that I almost OD'd. All kinds of alcohol and painkillers, uppers, downers, anything I could get on my hands on so that I could check out of being conscious, because when I was conscious, I was in tremendous pain. So when I look at this definition of what loss is, that pain is an indication of loss or a fear of loss. Again, a fear of loss of mobility, of it creates anxiety, depression, and loss of mobility in life. People are in so much pain that they don't want to live. And I was in that realm myself. And so many people take the wrong paths to try to help themselves out of this. So there, as I was saying, first of all, there's the people that just kind of endure the pain, but it stops them from being who they could be. I believe that everybody has the capability of greatness. And it just depends on your understanding of your ability to make something happen. We all have this ability to make things go right or to succumb to the pressures around us, not believing that we have these powers. Other people go down the medical realm. I had a patient come in the other day that she is coming in for herself, but her husband is about to get a steel cage put around his lumbar spine. And he's been in pain. He's in his early 70s and he's in such severe pain. He's just retired and he can't do what he wants to do, which is, fly fishing and, going golfing and all these kind of things. So he is looking at getting what they basically put a steel cage around the lumbar spine. And this is something you can't come back from. He's never tried alternative medicine yet. He's never been to a chiropractor. I don't know if we could help him or not, but I know that with the TRT, tissue regenerative therapy, or soft wave stem cell machine, I would sure try that before I had this cage put around me. In fact, I broke my back. If I had gone to a medical doctor back then, I'd probably have steel in my spine. So in a way, thank God my parents didn't listen to me about my pain. My best friend is, one of my best friends is I've known him since I was 6 years old. He is a emergency room doc. Our other friend from that era, I talked to him about a month ago and I said, how are you doing? He goes, well, I'm still recovering. I said, from what? I had a steel cage put around my spine. They opened me up from the front and the back and put a cage in. So is that the only way to go? Maybe with some people, but what have you exhausted before you got there? So I just want to encourage people to realize that the more information you have about situations, the better choices you'll be able to make. And I recommend taking your blinders off. So many people, only 8% of the people in the country go to a chiropractor on a regular basis. Only 8%. Now that may seem startling to you. It's certainly startling to me. But that means that 92% of the people are not seeking natural health. Now, chiropractic is the largest natural health profession out there. Acupuncture, naturopathic medicine, and things are moving up, but chiropractic has always been the leader in that. And we're only seeing 8% of the world population, or the population of the United States. Now you wonder why 92% of the people who aren't going to a chiropractor are consuming 70% of the world's pharmaceutical drugs. And again, we're only 4% of the world population. So most chiropractic patients are not on many medications. Of course, chiropractors don't prescribe or de-prescribe medications. That's a pharmaceutical or a medical doctor's job. However, what we do is teach how to make the body work better by taking a look at the fact that, look at it this way. Have you ever seen a weed growing out of cement, a crack in the cement? You pull that weed out and it's back within a couple weeks. You pull it out, it's back within a couple weeks. You spray it with with weed killer, and it's back within a couple weeks. Why? Because of the desire to survive. The urge to survive is so strong to everything on this planet that's alive. And Western medicine, again, I was in the hospital. I would have died without it because of my ruptured appendix. But if all of the drugs that we are providing in this country, which is, I've heard 50 to 70% of all the drugs in the world, 4% of the world population take, which is the United States, we should be healthy, but we're not. We're rated 47th in the world for health. So it's time to open our eyes. We really want to take a look and see what is causing this. So I'm going to take a short break. I'll be back in a couple minutes. We'll talk about this a little more.
And I have Pastor Mark with me. He came in and experienced the stem cell machine, the TRT machine, and he wanted to just go ahead and tell you a little bit of his experience. Yeah, I injured my knee years ago from sports and being dumb. And after the first stem cell treatment, after the very first one, I could do a full knee squat. And doctors told me that we want to replace your knee. And my knee was just ache just from sitting. And you probably experienced that if you have knee problems. But now, no ache. I can walk without pain. And when I sit, I had no pain, and I just love it. I'd recommend it to anybody. It's terrific. When we looked at your x-rays, your discs and your knees look pretty good too. Yeah, they're improving so much. I just love it. I can't wait for my treatment every week. Highly recommend it to anyone. So you'd recommend they do the $49 special to see if it will work for them? Oh, absolutely. That's what drew me in with the $49 special. I thought I got $50 to spend to just see, and it certainly has paid off. Call 831-459-9990. Thanks.
Hey everybody, this is Dr. McCollum. I have this amazing guy, Gary, here, who's a new patient to our office. And he just came up to the front and started talking about stuff, and I wanted you to just express what you were telling us.
Hi, Dr. McCollum.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. My name is Gary McKinney. I live in Seaside. I listen to KSCO on Saturdays, and I heard Dr. McCollum has a phenomenal show at 1 o'clock on KSCO.
Yeah.
So please check him out sometime. But the real reason is I've been a client of Dr. McCollum for 10 days now, and I feel like I've been with him in his office for well over, all my life. Everyone that works at the office is so helpful and so friendly. It really feels like a family. He's not just joking when he says that that they welcome you and is able to take care of every need. I came in for TRT treatment, which is a tissue regenerative therapy, which is phenomenal. And it's a little bit costly, but I mean, what price are you willing to pay for not being healthy? And because everything affects everything else, and the TRT has already made a difference in my life. But what is really satisfying to me is coming here and meeting fine people like Natalie, which is Dr. McCollum's daughter, and frequently she's the utility player running around the office, and she always, you can always tell that Natalie's on the phone because she will always say, McCollum Chiropractic, I can help you, and you know what, she can and she does, and it just makes my heart jump just to realize there's such helpful and friendly people in the office. Everyone from Angus, who runs the TRT machine, the other chiropractors in the office, and the administrative staff like Miriam and Arlene, they're very friendly and very helpful. You never have to follow up on everything. They send you messages a day before your appointments. It makes it so seamless, so bulletproof, just to be in a safe place where you can rely on treatment. And if you have a problem, Dr. McCollum will go the extra mile to make it happen. And not the least of which, Dr. McCollum, besides a chiropractor, he's a naturopath. So he's one dangerous dude in the health realm because there's all sorts of alternative methodologies he's using. He also has his finger on the pulse of detoxification from 5G and things of that nature, which he'll be willing to share with you as he's collecting the data. He's also a master of detoxification of heavy metals and things of that nature. And he has a very extensive survey to fill out so that he can help you better on that. And I'm looking forward to the detox process as well. So this is all unsolicited. Dr. McCollum asked me to just say a few words. I could go on and on because I feel so comfortable here. If you want to feel comfortable at a chiropractor's office, come to Dr. McCollum, who's conveniently located off of 41st Avenue, and come on down. They're waiting for you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Wow, that's really fun just to hear Gary talk about that again. It's been a really good ride. Treating people and having people get good results in our office. So that's really fun. appreciate that. Haven't heard Gary's success story for a little while, but here we are at KSCO, and great things happen here. So anyway, back talking about what you can do to get over the fact that your body might be limiting your abilities in life. And so many people are suffering. So many people come in and they say, well, I used to play golf, I used to go surfing, I used to ride a bike, I used to lift weights, and I would love to get down to be able to play with my grandkids. And the limiting factor is usually pain. And again, pain is an indicator of fear of loss. When somebody has a pain, I can't tell you how many times I've hurt myself, my shoulders, my elbows, my low back, my wrist, adjusting people and working, in the yard or on a farm and such, and then going, oh my gosh, I'm going to be stuck with this the rest of my life. It's over. And knowing what I know, you think I would go, gosh, my body's got this incredible ability to heal. Just give it a chance, do the right things, eliminate the wrong things, and the body's going to heal. Just like that weed that keeps growing up out of the ground and you lop it off and it grows again. It's because the essence of life has a goal, and that is to survive. We have underestimated that so much with modern medicine, other than medical emergencies and, frank chronic disease, which is usually culminates from one of three stressors: physical, chemical, or emotional, or all three together. Take a look at the rest of the world that don't get to think the way we do. Most of the animals and these animals are living well. Their body knows what to do. They've been birthing their young naturally since time immemorial. Right now, I believe when I got out of chiropractic school, 1 out of 25% of all hospital births were cesarean. Now I think it's 33+% cesarean. And, you got to wonder, well, what's gone wrong with the human body that this is necessary? I remember when my first child was born, her mother had her first son was a cesarean, and that she was questioned whether that was necessary or not as she learned more. And I asked her, I said, are you going to have a home birth? And boy, she blew up at me and said, no, you're not supposed to after a cesarean. It's like not legal or something like that. I never said another word. But what she did is she went and started studying what's called a VBAC, vaginal birth after cesarean. And she decided to go to a weekend seminar for midwives to learn about it. And she came home and she goes, you know what, I'm going to have a natural birth and a home birth. And we proceeded to do that. Our midwife was very knowledgeable. As it turned out, right near the end, the midwife said, it's up to you whether you want us to continue or go to a hospital, because it seemed to be a problematic birth. So we went to the hospital. Soon as we got there, Natalie was born within 1 or 2 pushes. There was nothing that the hospital did differently because she was ready to come out. But cautious, you got to be cautious. My second son was home birth, successful, came out with cord wrapped around his neck twice. The midwife said, oh yeah, we see this all the time. Undid the cord, and he is a healthy young 25-year-old right now. When we had her in her mom or his mom in different positions, the midwife said, oh, the baby's pulse is going down, let's move you a little bit. So she would change positions and the baby's pulse would come up again. I mean, it was just amazing. But we are just so indoctrinated into the fact that there is a medicine to handle every condition that we may come across. I think that, and I'm not saying not to check with your medical doctors to when you're pregnant and get all the information you can. One of my daughter's good friends just gave birth to twins. And in town, she could not find any place to go that they would allow her to have a home birth. So she had to go down to LA and found a doctor that would allow her to have naturally born twins. So, and they're very healthy. And I treated them when they were 3 weeks old. I treated the mother and her twin sister when they were probably 3 weeks old. So the one thing about freeing up the body's innate intelligence to heal itself is realizing that when an egg and sperm come together, this incredible life force begins, and that egg and sperm becomes one cell, basically a stem cell, and within 8 days it's turned into 8 cells. It looks like a bunch of frog eggs in a pond. Within 16 days, that same little bundle of cells has developed a knob on the end with a streak down it, which is the primitive streak, or the basic spinal cord, and the bulb at the end is the brain. From that point on, little tentacles come off of the streak and become the central nervous system. 31 spinal nerves on each side. Next thing we see is the organs and the fingers and the toes and the hearts, livers, and all those things develop. And within 9 months, you have this incredible little baby ready to be born. That all happens by nature within the womb. Now, there's many things that can go wrong, of course, but most of the time, the babies are born healthy. Then the body just develops and the nervous system develops, and life begins. We have accidents or injuries along the way. 4 generations of heavy metals such as mercury and lead get put into the fetus through mom's umbilical blood. The baby comes out and has his own immune system. He has inherited some toxins through mom's umbilical blood, and he also has his own inherent ability to withstand a certain amount of toxins. We call it his cup. His cup is either half full or half empty. Your cup can consist of the size of a shot glass, an 8-ounce glass, or a quart size. And then by the time these fill up, that's when, with toxins, that's when your genetic predilection to disease could start to turn on. So, as an example, you can have 2 twins. One might have be much more prone to disease than the other one. And there's, of course, genetics, but also there's the exposure to the 3 stressors, which is physical, chemical, and emotional. So from those twins, one's birth might have been easier or harder than the other. In fact, the twins that I mentioned that were born, the baby girl came out first. Her brother had been sitting on her all this time, and her head was a little lopsided. Now that same birth canal was a different experience for both children. So the nervous system can be affected differently, and sometimes you could have some more damage on one than the other. Especially depending on who's on the receiving end of the baby, whether they're letting the baby do it themselves or they're being pulled out by, the old days, forceps and stuff. And sometimes we see the damage of that in my practice with chronic disease or disfigurements and things that might be caused by that. But, so the basic beginning of the show, what I really wanted to talk about was the ability to make something go right is up to the individual's desire, willingness, and ability to perceive the obvious. So you have to be able to realize that the past is the past, the future is the future, the present is what you make it. And so many people have shackles of basically things in the past that have happened to them that they are still unable to let go, or they're still tainting their ability to see what's in front of them. And they're seeing the present through maybe not ruby colored glasses, but by shades of gray or black. and it's affecting their ability to actually enjoy life. So really, today is the beginning of your life. You can make huge decisions to make differences. You just need to have the right information and a clear path to get there. So we're coming up to the first of the year, and the first of the year is a great time to set new goals. I've got patients, there are people that say, I never set goals, I never do New Year's resolutions. And, you know, they have their reasons, but I know that if, you know, happiness is setting out for a goal and being able to work through the obstacles, the unknowns, getting the information you need, and staying determined to get that goal. And it's really cool. Some of us have never done that. Others of us achieve it very easily in some areas of our life and not so easily in other areas of our life. There are people out there that are very successful business people, but maybe not so great at families or being a parent, or their physical health might be dramatically impaired because of the stresses of the environment, that their work environment, to make them healthy. So this is a really good time to kind of take a look at where you want to go for the future. Now, we've got to be able to break the molds of the past if we're going to change our future. A lot of those molds come from fear of loss or loss itself. Grief comes from loss of ability, loss of somebody you care for, loss of something that you wish you still had. And that grief is something that hangs on because of those losses. Now, you know, right or wrong, we've all had these losses, and some of us are numb to them, some of us numb ourselves to them, others just stay in that grief and can't move forward, or so far haven't been able to. So this is where taking a look at setting a goal that's not insurmountable. So maybe you just want to start walking, taking some walks. You know, if you've got pain and various things stopping you from doing that, then take a look in the area where you live and go, who might help me overcome some of these pains? And if you're covering up the pains with medication, realize that you may or may not be doing yourself some good. Depends on the problem you're having, of course. And I'm not giving medical advice to get on or off of drugs, but I am saying that you as a being have a much greater desire to survive than a body that's medicated because of pain. So perhaps it's too late. Maybe it is. What do you think? Take a look at your life and decide, I'm going to do something different, darn it. And this is the year I'm going to do it. It's coming right up. So we're going to take my second break here. Hope you're enjoying the show. I'm speaking a little bit outside the box today, but I'm just trying to inspire people to make this next year the best year ever. We're coming out of lots of controversy over the last few years. It's time to shake it off, take off the coat of the media, whichever side you're on, and just be a shiny new being and start your life clear and new, starting right now. We'll see you in a minute. Hi, this is Dr. Duncan McCollum, and I have this amazing patient, Gayleen, here, who walked into our office, well, barely walked into our office.
Hardly able to walk and bent over. And within 3 visits, I was standing up straight, walking. I couldn't believe it. That's never happened to me before. It's been a very rough road, but we're getting there, and I'm very grateful.
And you had 2 back surgeries as well, right?
Yes, I did. Yeah, in 1995. Yeah.
And so they didn't really solve your problem.
No, they didn't.
And you came in, we did some stem cell treatments on you and some chiropractic on you, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So you're happy.
I'm happy. Everyone here is just awesome. They're all here to help you. They're all so sweet.
You should listen to Gayleen, see if we can help your health.
That's right. Anyone that needs help, please come in.
Thank you. Hey, this is Dr. Duncan McCollum, and I have this amazing patient, Lauren, here, and she had a few things to say.
Hi, I'm Lauren Spencer, a local realtor, and I've been seeing Duncan for years now. I had a biking accident and he's been adjusting me since then, and it's been amazing. But lately, I've had trouble with my feet, and I'm an avid walker, avid biker, avid golfer, and my feet were aching all the time. And I tried Duncan's TRT machine, which is an amazing stem cell machine that rejuvenates the cells. And my feet, I've had like 3 or 4 sessions with the machine, and my feet are like new, no aches, no pains. It's a miracle. So I really highly recommend Duncan and his chiropractic services, but also that TRT machine. You got to try it.
Wow, thanks, Lauren. That was awesome. So we still have the $49 special. Come on in and see if it works for you. Thank you. Okay, this is Dr. Duncan McCollum. I'm back, and for my last segment here, and I'll tell you about the TRT machine, my own personal experience. I first hurt my right shoulder in 4th grade trying to throw a softball as far as I could. I didn't have proper dynamic or biodynamics, and was not instructed well, and I pulled my shoulder out. Very painful. No treatment for it. It slowly got better. I injured it arm wrestling in high school. I injured it again climbing ropes, doing various things, being a auto mechanic, lifting things, being a chiropractor, hurt it many times. And then one day I was reaching up and trying to pull something down at the Santa Cruz County Fair, in fact, and it ripped my shoulder so badly that I was unable to lift it at all. It stayed next to my side. If I ever tried to lift it, I had to use my left arm to lift it up. And I couldn't eat left-handed for some reason. If I took a fork and tried to eat with it, I couldn't. So I had to use my left hand to lift my right arm to put it into food into my mouth. And I tried so many different things. I tried, ultrasound, of course, chiropractic. I tried got this thing called PRP, platelet-rich plasma, acupuncturist. I tried everything that I knew. And then a friend of mine, Dr. Dan Pompa, who is one of my mentors, whose son was at a lake, and he tried to jump off a 60-foot cliff, and he missed the water and hit his heels and butt on the rock, fractured 3 vertebrae in his mid-thoracic spine. And very, very sad day. They wanted to put a steel cage around his back, fractured vertebrae. He was like 18 years old, I think. Well, the kid had grown up in a healthcare family, and he said, I'm not getting the cage done. I want to do something else. So they tried, they started doing everything they knew with vitamin D, with all these different therapies. And somebody came up with this thing, Dr. Matt Diderot, who I've interviewed on the show quite often, had this thing called the stem cell machine, tissue regenerative therapy. So they did this therapy on the boy, and within 4 weeks, he was standing and walking. In 6 weeks, he was in Europe on a trip. And this was amazing because they wanted to put steel cage around him. Daniel's his name. He's doing great right now. He's running a multi-million-dollar business. And but regardless of that, I called my friend Dr. Pop, and I said, where do I find one of these? And I had to travel very far to find one. One treatment, I could lift my arm 40%. The next treatment, I could lift it 80%. I bought one. It's a true lithotripsy machine. There are other ones out on the market that are causing shock through electrical currents in the body. This is pure sound going through the body. But anyway, so I got my machine. I was the first in California to have one in private practice. The number was the 403 in the world. Now there's 600 of them in the United States. But it's life-changing. It's pure sound, healing the body. So if you haven't experienced it yet, I highly recommend that you call up and take advantage of the $49 special while we're doing it. It could change your life and your health. We're talking about hope today. We're talking about, the threat of loss and how pain is a threat of loss. It's a threat of loss of ability, loss of enjoyment, loss of limb, loss of life. It's one of those things that cause people's life to be unhappy. And oftentimes that pain can own you. Other people just overcome it, and other people research and search and search and search till they find the answer and never give up. Some people end up on incredibly heavy narcotic medications that might dull the pain, but it also dulls their life. That may be the approach that they are willing to take or want to take, but there's always something else to do. And the insurance company is not going to do it for you. The insurance is there. We call it sickness care, the insurance industry, because they're not there to make you as healthy as they can. They're there to help you get out of pain or get your symptoms to go away. That's what they're there for. No harm to them. That's what they do. They're not there to ensure that your body's as healthy as it could possibly be. Should it be? Yeah, that would be ideal, but it's not. So, you have to, unfortunately, if you want to be healthy, it's up to you, and it's probably coming out of your pocket. Insurance may help a little bit, but a lot of times, like if your car broke down and you didn't have insurance, you'd still have to get a new car. You'd figure it out. So depends on how much you believe in your body's ability to heal itself, and you may not have a huge ability there if you've been in pain a long time because it's not fixed it yet. Well, maybe you just haven't removed the right stressors yet. There's 3 stressors: physical, which is basically the nervous system; chemical, which is all of the toxins in the environment, including the ones your own body makes that you may not be able to eliminate because your digestive system's messed up from the toxins, the nervous system, or other stresses in the body, which could be the mental, emotional stresses that cause a cortisol response that shuts down your immune system, shuts down your digestive system and your ability to have cognitive function, which we've been exposed to over the last 3 years because of this whole debacle that the world's been put through, right, wrong, or indifferent. But here we are today. What are you going to do tomorrow? Are you going to decide that this is the best year yet, that you can overcome obstacles? All you need to do is have a clear roadmap and the impetus and the gumption to make something happen. I believe that you can make anything happen. I know that I've achieved a little bit in my life. I couldn't read till I was 28 because I was on so many drugs and medications and diagnosed dyslexic and was trying to get rid of the pain from a broken back. And then I almost OD'd in the little beach house I live in now, walked to the cliff at 3 a.m, heart beating out of my chest, bottle of scotch in my hand and a joint, wondering why my heart was beating so fast and wondering if I'd ever live to see tomorrow. And that did it for me. That was the moment of truth for me. And I quit. I had to find people that would help me. I had to change everything. I had to change my friends. I had to give up friendships I'd had for years because they were not healthy for me. And, out of quite a big group of those people, several of them are dead. They never made it. And, but some of them are still living, and thank God we're all able to be friends now in a much cleaner environment. And we remember the good times, not the bad times back then when we get together, some of my high school friends and such. But, I think that it's up to you to decide to make a difference. And with the new year coming, you can write down your goals. I'll tell you, when we do goal boards every year, my family members, my office does. And as you know, well, maybe you don't, I was illiterate till I was 28, couldn't read a comic strip. And now I've published 6 books. And on a goal board back in 2015, I had 2 books on it that I had been starting to write and have them published, that they would be published. I also had a picture of a grand piano sitting there and a bunch of other things. But 2016 came along. I took those 2 pictures and moved them to the next year with the 2 books, and I moved the grand piano over. 2017 came along. I published 2 books, still had to move the grand piano over. 2018 came along. I published 2 more books. So I now have 4 books published, and a friend of mine, dear friend of my family, father passed away, and one of the 3 sons called me up and says, would you like my father's grand piano? And of course, I had that on my goal board for several years at that point. And so that grand piano is now in my house. It's a beautiful Kauai piano that was, his father had bought it from the San Francisco Opera House. It was a practice piano in one of the rooms, but it's barely played, beautiful piano. The only reason I'm saying this is, I could have just kind of wandered through life with no goals and decided never put out that I wanted a book published. I have 2 more books that should be out next year. Unfortunately, I've been a little lax on working on them lately, but and I have goals. I have things that I want to accomplish, and I just encourage you to write things down. Get a piece of poster board, put some things on it, hide it in your closet if you don't believe it can happen. But mine was always in my bathroom, right next to my kitchen, or right next to my mirror, so I would look at it every day. And there's a lot of you can do some research online on how to make these things happen and come to fruition. But if you get in the ocean in a sailing ship and you have no destination, you'll just float around in that ocean, probably till you succumb. But if you decide, I'm going to Hawaii, and you get a boat and you get enough supplies, enough water, and you learn how to navigate the boat, and you get some maps and charts, and you take off, and you pay attention, keep on course, you'll get to Hawaii most of the time, minus a tsunami or some sea monster getting you. But that's what it takes to change your life, and this is a great time to do it. The beginning of the show, again, I was talking about pain is a fear of loss, because it does mean lack of mobility, lack of a body working right, lack of ability to get together with the people that you love, even fearing life itself, which was where I was with all my back pain many, many years ago. So I just encourage you to take a moment after the show, or maybe you have right now, write down a couple things that you would like to see happen this year, and write it down on a piece of paper. If you feel so inclined, do it with a couple friends. Get on on your internet, print out posters of colored copies of what you like and put it out there. I recommend maybe 3 things. Many times my board's been so filled up with stuff that nothing happens. So get 3 things that you really, really are motivated to have happen this year, and put them on your goal board. And then you can also, if you're interested, you can email me at info@McCollumFamilyChiropractic.com, info@McCollumFamilyChiropractic.com, and I can send you a template of what I use to try to make these things come true. Very simple. What your goal is, and then why you want that to happen, and some basic planning. And then some of the rules. You have to have rules, which means that you pay attention to keep yourself on track. And of course, we're all alive and things happen, but if we know how to stay on track, we might get to where we want to go. We're here. Everything that we've thought and done has got us where we are today. So the same thinking will not get you where you want to go tomorrow unless you're incredibly happy where you are today. So if you want to get somewhere else, you got to think differently. You got to have more tools. You've got to get rid of some of the anchors that you're dragging around with you. Now, I don't mean that if there's somebody that was special to you that's no longer around, that you're going to discredit that feeling of love for them. But you got to realize that they would want you to be more successful, and they would want you to love the good parts about them, and use that for your strengths to move forward, not anchors to hold you back. So, I really hope that this has helped one person today. It's helped me, so I guess I've achieved my goal, because I'm looking to find out what I can do better next year to have a more successful, more organized life for myself, for my patients, for my staff, for my family, and friends that I know. So there is no limit to your power. There is no limit to your ability to create. And you just have to believe in yourself, get out of your own way, set some goals, and then some policies, and find a roadmap that works. You probably go down some dead-end alleys, but don't give up. Just like they say in Galaxy Quest, don't give up, don't give in. Just keep going, and find out where you end up next year. It'll probably be a little better than you are right now. Even if you fail 99% of the time, you will succeed 1%. You'll be 1% better than you are now, or your life will look 1% better than it does now. And I really doubt that that's going to be the case. You're going to be a lot better off if you start to believe in yourself, apply principles, read the people. You'll be in 3 to 5 years like the books you read and the people you hang out with. So, I went to chiropractic school. I couldn't read. I had some great friends that helped me get through chiropractic school. Now I've written 5, 6 books. And I hung out with really successful people, and I'm doing okay in my practice, helping people, which is my goal. But if I hung out with those same people that I was doing drugs with and drinking with, I'd probably be dead. So you have a chance to help somebody else. This program today may not have rang true to you, but maybe somebody you know. This will be up on my podcast, McCollum Wellness Radio, on Spotify or Apple Music, any place that you can find that. I think next week I have an incredible speaker. Dr. Mindy Pels will be on talking about her new book, Fast Like a Girl. And it's already a bestseller and hasn't even hit the streets yet. So please listen next week. Then we have the end of the year. Not sure what's going to happen next year with everything in my show yet, but it's been a pleasure all this time speaking with you and being on the air. McCollum Wellness Radio is my podcast. You can always find me there. Come check out the Stem Cell Machine, 831-459-9990. I'd love to meet you. I'd love to hear from you. Info at McCollum Family Chiropractic is my website. And we will see you next week. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.
News this hour from townhall.com. Jason Walker. Arizona Senator Pearson Cinema leaving the Democratic Party 4 years after being elected. Correspondent